Welcome to the 7th episode of the Lombardi League. Let's start with matchups from week 6. We can talk about what happened. There was some shit talking that went south for one of our league, our owners here. We had a late stat correction that gave somebody a W. We can talk about all that as it comes to us, but let's start out with the week 6 report. All right. Miller had the highest scoring team. He got an extra chance at that number 1 pick next season. Brian still beat me, but he had the worst percentage. I think that might be the second consecutive week, maybe the first week, because Brian's been the best one every week so far. Yeah. Here's the before it updated. Bino beat Corey. Apparently that's fake news. Yeah, Miller had the really high output, 134. He had Deshaun Watson. Derrick Henry almost had 50 points. That's, I think, the first game that anybody's gotten over 45. Julio had his best season, or the game of the season. He's been hurt for most of it, so that was exciting. You see all the king benches. The best kicker on the bench was Will Lutz on a bye week. That's what happens when you have a kicker on your bench that doesn't even play. So let's go Brian versus me. My second loss in the last 3 weeks. I may look normal right now. I'm sweating a little on the inside. Didn't even clear 100 points. Brian won even though he's projected to lose. He had 2 guys over 20 points, which was Lamar Jackson and I believe George Kittle. He had nobody on his starting lineup scored under 5 points, so it's not terrible. He did sit Justin Jefferson, who had like a 30, almost 40 point week. He didn't need it to beat me. I sat Phillip Lindsay, who would have been gotten me more points than a couple of guys. I had a lot of injuries this week, unfortunately. Raheem Mostert got hurt. Jonnu Smith got hurt. Madison, I picked up Madison because Dalvin Cook was not supposed to play against Atlanta and did not play, but apparently Madison didn't either. He only got me 3.5 points. So yeah, really rough week for me. Let's go to the second one, Corey versus Bino. If you don't know these two, they are dating and have been for a while, and they live in the same house. And this is the game with the late stat correction. So to literally correct the stat by 0.08, Corey takes the lead home. Aaron Rodgers had a terrible game against the Buccaneers. I think he got sacked 4 or 5 times. Not good. Bino had Russell Wilson on a bye, so if she had Russell starting, maybe it would have been a different story. Corey got really good output from his wide receivers. As you can see, his 2 flexes. He had A.J. Brown get 2 touchdowns and Travis Fulgham score 1. Take a peek at the bench. Tannehill, 30-plus on the bench. Debo Samuel with 15 points. And Bino didn't really have anybody else to play, and then good thing she didn't play Mike Gesicki because he didn't catch a ball. I made that mistake in another league. All right, Patrick continuing his hot streak against Dylan. I believe he had the second highest scoring team of the week. So like I said, Patrick's on the up. He's getting those points every week now. Almost 50 from Derrick Henry. Very, very impressive. That's a league winner, league winner for one, but definitely this week winner. Dylan's team only scored 74 points. Derrick Henry almost beat him by himself. Ferg had 4 players in double figures. Patrick could have had everybody on bye besides Derrick Henry and Will Fuller and still would have beat him. Mecole Hardman got him a goose egg. A lot of buys for Dylan. Not a lot of pointage on either side, actually. And then Michael Thomas has been hurt, and he's not even coming back this week, surprisingly enough. Miller with the highest scoring team of the week. Deshaun Watson got him almost 35 points. He had 5 players in double figures. Justin had Kyler Murray get him 32.82 points. He had 3 people in double figures. Devontae Adams had a mediocre game. Cooper had a good game. T.Y. Hilton's still struggling. Let's take a look at T.Y. Hilton. He scored 7 points week 1. almost 10 week 5, and that is the best he's done for a guy who was probably drafted. Well, he's a mid-round guy, but he's usually sneaky in value, and he really hasn't shown it this year. Ronald Jones with 25, Tucker with 16. Anytime you can get over 10 points from a kicker is excellent. Burrow on the bench, Miller on the bench, didn't really hurt you. Dalvin Cook's rehabbing, I believe he had a groin injury. Cook's on the bench and AJ Green on the bench for Justin. Kind of hurt him there. All right, this is the final matchup: Spencer versus Wes. Wes was talking mad stuff before the Monday night game against the Arizona Cardinals and the Cowboys. Yeah, Ezekiel ended up fumbling twice. Julio Jones had him almost 34 points, the best week for Julio. He did sit T. Higgins, which would have helped out his cause a little bit with that 17.7 on the bench. None of Spencer's bench guys really hurt him too much. Kenyon Drake on Monday night really tore the Cowboys defense up, had 32 points. Kelsey had 2 touchdowns. So yeah, these Monday games really helped out Spencer this week. All right, so we are going to go to this week's matchups, which it is Saturday. So the Thursday night game has already played. I played Bino. She already had someone play, as did I. I picked up Boston Scott because Miles Sanders was hurt and got me 16.7. Darius Slayton only got 2 catches. I don't really have anybody on like debate. I really want to play Le'Veon Bell, but it's still that first week that he's with the Chiefs, so you never really know what his workload's going to be like. But they're talking about putting him in the slot as a receiver, and I watched him play in Pittsburgh. I know how deadly he can be. Deshaun Jackson got hurt on Thursday. Luckily, Bino didn't play him. He was getting targeted pretty heavily, I thought. At least he got like 2 or 3 catches in a row in that game. She still needs a tight end because the 2 she has are on a bye. Hopkins versus Seattle and Kamara versus Carolina are really good matchups for me. She's got Galladay against Atlanta as a green matchup, and Gibson versus Dallas. So we'll see what happens. I'm projected to win by a sizable amount, but let's wait until she plugs a tight end in there to see what's really going to happen. All right, some 4-2 teams clashing in week 7. Corey's out to a good little start there against Patrick. Aaron Jones is questionable. Let's take a peek at what they say about him. Just that he is questionable. If he misses time, Jamal Williams will take the lead back role. The lead back role. And I believe West has Jamal Williams, so we'll see when I look at his roster if he'll play him. A.J. Brown, Fulgham already got him to 12. On the bench here, let's take a look at it. It's tough to say. He does have Latavius Murray on the bench, and Carolina has the worst run defense in the league. But who is he starting instead? So yeah, that's a quick plug-in. If Aaron Jones doesn't play, you can just put Latavius Murray in there. Otherwise, yeah, that's the only other running back he has on the roster for Wes. Or no, excuse me, this isn't Wes. This is Patrick's team. Patrick just picked up Roethlisberger. Marvin Jones has been kind of disappointing this year. He might have a decent game, at least a touchdown against Atlanta. Justin Jackson's still questionable. Let's take a peek at that. He's fully practicing. I'm assuming Justin Jackson's going to play. A.J. Brown. What a cool guy. He just picked up Hunter Henry as well. So he's got Derek and Hunter Henry. All right, so we can see Miller and Ferg have a matchup here. Once again, Michael Thomas isn't playing. I believe Dalvin Cook's either on a bye or still hurt, so he is not going to be in Miller's lineup. Edelman's questionable. Mike Evans, I think, had 1 catch last week. We can take a peek at Mike real fast. Yeah, 1.5, 1 for 10 yards. He's had a nagging ankle injury all year, so we'll see if he can get up against the Raiders. The Raiders are maybe missing most, if not all, of their entire offensive line because of the COVID stuff, so which is kind of lame. But if you're in a league that has defenses in it, pick up the Tampa defense if they're available. They shouldn't really be because they've been pretty good this year. Michael Thomas out still. Looking on the bench, yep, Minnesota is on a bye. Mixon's hurt, can't play him. Ertz is on IR. Tucker's on bye, so he picked up Young Hoku. That's not a bad pickup. And Watkins still out. David Moore, James White. Let's take a peek. Chase Claypool had that awesome 4-touchdown game. He scored a rushing touchdown last week as well. I don't think I'd change anything about either one of these lineups. All right, so 8's against Wes. Another two teams that are kind of in the middle of the pack. One or two wins in a row could put you right on the top. Kyler against Seattle is going to be a really awesome game to watch. Yeah, that's a Sunday night game. I'll be sitting on the couch, just ready for that. Brady against the Raiders. Like I said, if the Raiders don't have an offensive line, they might be dominating the time of possession. Zeke against Washington. Washington's pretty stout against the run, but they don't really have many other options. They still have Andy Dalton playing, of course. T. Higgins against Cleveland, and he is playing Jamal Williams, so he's well aware of what's going on. On the other side, you got Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, if he can run behind that line, but it's to be seen. Hawkinson is NFL.com start of the week against Atlanta, and West has Hayden Hurst on the other side of the field, so that's the same game. That'll be an interesting one to watch. DeAndre Swift had an awesome game last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, almost 30 points in our league. You can kind of see the point breakdown there. 116 rushing yards, 2 rushing scores, 1 rush that went over 40 yards, 3 catches. We'll see if he starts turning it on at the end of the season here, and I think he will. Let's take a peek. Juju Smith-Schuster's been extremely inconsistent. Let's look at his stats. He has not scored. Let's see. He scored in double figures twice, and recently, if you combine his 2 scores, he scored maybe 6 points, a little over 6. So it's tough to play him. Hilton's on a bye. Josh Kelly on the bench. Cooks. McKissick on the bench. I'm starting McKissick in one of my other leagues. But when I look at this league, or these teams, I really don't have that big of an issue with any of these. It'd be nice to start Cooks just because last week he had a pretty good game. He's been pretty solid for the Texans so far, but it's the matter of who you're going to start him over. I'm not going to start him over Mike Davis. I might start him over Swift, but not starting him over Cooper, not starting him over Devontae Adams. All right, our last matchup, we have Wansky against the George Washington Fixins. Let's take a peek here. Allen against the Jets. I think that's going to be a big game for Josh Allen and for Stephon Diggs, who Brian has. So I think Diggs is going to outscore Josh Allen. Let's see. McLaurin, Cooper Kupp, Zach Moss, the backup running back for Buffalo. That might be a sneaky play. I'm not too confident in Zach Moss at this point. It looks like Brian's must have some hurt running backs because he's starting Damian Harris as well. That does not make me think, that does not instill confidence in that lineup for me, at least. Singletary on the other side. So Spencer's got Singletary and Allen to Brian's Moss and Diggs. Look on the bench. Sanders is out, already played anyway. Emmanuel Sanders is on the COVID list, can't play him. Yep, and that's how you can tell Brian is hurting at running back, because everybody on his bench is on a bye or is Noah Fant. So yeah, Brian's gonna have to move some stuff around. Okay, let's start with the lineups, or excuse me, the standings of the week. 4 players are tied for the first place best record. So though at this point they're all playoff teams. Wansky in first, Corey in second, myself slipped down to third, Patrick in fourth, Miller in fifth, Spencer in sixth, Justin in seventh, Wes in eighth, Dylan in ninth, and Bino in 10th. But it's still pretty wide open at this point. Like I said, you win 2 straight weeks and you're kind of sitting pretty at this point. So let's see if the playoffs started today. Things have been switched around, of course, with Wansky and Corey now having the bye weeks, Patrick and Miller playing to see who plays Brian, and then myself and Spencer would play to see who plays Corey in the next round. The consolation bracket looks like that. So yeah, we will definitely see Ace and Bino, Wes and Dylan. But yeah, it's big. We're getting a lot of movement actually in our standings here, which is very interesting. Yeah, I need in my mind here, I really need some wins. I need a good game, and on paper, this is the week to do it because I played Bino and she only has 1 win, but she was kind of robbed with a stat correction last week, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm just kind of hoping I can continue to win when I'm supposed to, but we will definitely see. Alrighty. As you can see, that's our current draft odds right now for next year. Nobody didn't set a lineup, so everybody's in here. I'm drawing once, so we'll see what happens. See who it is. All right. So 8's got 1 more. Congrats. And let's plug this into our very high-tech Excel sheet here, and we'll see instant changes. Go for 2. So yeah, so you can see those numbers updated on the right-hand side here. I'm still in the lead with 22.22% at that first pick. Justin in second with 18.52. Wansky in third with 14, almost 15%. 2-way tie for fourth. Corey and Miller have an 11.11%. Another tie, Bino and Spencer with 7.41%. Another tie, Dylan and Wes, 3.7%. And Patrick still has no chance, but I have a really strong feeling he's going to get at least 1 soon. So yeah, guys, thank you for joining me today. Good luck on Sunday, and I will see you next week.